Resident Evil Village is the 8th in the long-running horror franchise, and I've been playing it on PS5. First and foremost, apologies for the delay in this review. I've recently started a new job, so that's just been consuming my life. So yeah, I might go into very brief spoilers about this game, but yeah, I'll share my thoughts on it. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't really love Resident Evil 7. I thought that game had a really strong opening couple of hours, but once you sort of left the Baker Mansion, you were just sort of fighting giant turds for the rest of the game. So my expectations for Village were a little bit lower than it was for 7. Which is why I'm really happy to say I had a really, really great time with this. I actually would go as far as saying I'm in the minority of people who enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Resident Evil Biohazard. So yeah, let's talk about some of the things I love, some of the things I didn't love. First and foremost, holy shit, this game looks so good. The RE engine looks amazing. They've used it in a couple of games. They used it in 7, the couple of the remakes, and here it looks absolutely breathtaking. As soon as the opening cutscene happened, you know, I was in absolute awe. I've been really critical of these new gen consoles. I was actually, you know, I didn't really think we needed a new generation of consoles just yet, but this was my first time playing a game on the PS5 where I was looking at it and being like, oh, this is pretty good. Yeah. There was even a moment in which I stepped into this sort of giant hallway and just sort of stood for a couple of minutes, and I used the game's photo mode to take a picture of the absolutely breathtaking lighting effects. You can see that picture on the screen now. So in the visuals department, this game is absolutely extraordinary. So this time round, we play as the same character from 7, Ethan Winters, and his daughter has been kidnapped and transferred to this remote village in Romania, and it's up to us to find out why she's been kidnapped and try and find her. Now, the village itself actually has its own sort of atmosphere to it, which I really enjoyed. It sort of acts as its own mini hub world, like a small open world, and even, you know, focusing on the story, which is what I did. There were, you know, I didn't even get to see all of it. There were doors that I never got to unlock, so that certainly gives the game a replay factor. But of course, let's talk about the one thing that people are loving about this game, and that is Lady Dimitrescu. You simps. She's probably the best part of the game. She acts as this sort of, you know, the never-ending threat when you're in the castle. You know, she's constantly stalking you, similar to how Mr. X did in the Resident Evil 2 remake. However, I never really had that many encounters with her, apart from the scripted ones. I would say in terms of chance random encounters, I think I found like maybe 2. I found her relatively easy to navigate around. She also can't enter safe rooms, so anytime that you know, I did have a chance encounter with her, I could just run into a safe room and I knew I was going to be safe from her. But the main problem is she isn't in the game that much. I think the marketing for this has been incredibly misleading. Yeah, she's maybe in the game for like 2 hours. It feels very similar to what they did with Vars in Far Cry 3. So if you're going into this thinking you're going to get lots of big titty goth girlfriend action, like I was, you're going to be slightly let down. She's really only in the opening section of the game, which leads me on to my next point, this isn't really much of a horror game. I'd say this is certainly more action focused. It's the horror here isn't as intense as it was in 7. You know, you've always got lots of ammo. I never once found myself low on ammo. Later on in the game, there's a mech fight, which tells you you know, this is a little bit more over the top, but which is fine. You know, the Resident Evil franchise has always been over the top. Like even from the first game, you know, that game ends with you firing a rocket launcher at a giant mutant. So, you know, this franchise has always been over the top, which is why I liked it. It has that sort of over the top campy vibe that the franchise has been known for, and it doesn't take itself as seriously as 7 did, which is why I enjoyed the game as much as I did. I'm not saying there isn't any horror elements in it. There's the occasional jump scare like this.
Surprise, motherfucker!
But the sort of second major section that you get to, which is what I'm going to entitle the dollhouse section, this this bit was this without doubt the scariest part of the game. You can definitely feel the PT inspirations here. The cancelled Silent Hills project from a few years ago. Mainly with its setting, I was getting sort of elements of that never-ending hallway that you see in PT, but mainly from the threat that's chasing you here. It certainly feels like an homage to a certain aspect from PT. I won't go into too many spoilers because for me it was probably the best moment of the game. Another thing I loved, the enemy design. This was something that really needed improvement from 7. I thought the enemy design in 7 was probably the weakest aspect of that game. So here it's so much better. We have a whole cast of different enemies. You have the lichens, werewolves, vampires, sort of zombie sort of creatures that emerge from the ground, sort of cyborg things towards the end of the game. There's a lot on show here, and each one's very different from each other. The lichens sort of hunt in packs, as they would in real life if they existed. The zombies have that sort of slow, like, thing about that zombies do. So yeah, the enemy design here is far superior to 7 in my opinion. I would say towards the end of the game does feel very different from the start. The start is quite slow paced. The end is quite the opposite. You're a one-man army. You have more ammo than Rambo. There are sections where you're fighting off like up to like 30 enemies, and some of the enemies do feel a little bullet spongy, especially on the higher difficulties. So all subtlety gets sort of thrown out of the window. But other than that, I think this is a great game. There's a lot of replay value to it. In terms of negatives, I would say it was a little short. I managed to finish it in just under 7 hours, which for a full-priced game could be seen as, you might feel like you've been ripped off. However, like I said, the replay value is there. If I feel I would happily go back to this. I would maybe even go for a platinum. I enjoyed it that much. The village section, I felt like I neglected a whole lot of that. So if you're only going for the story, you could probably do this in around 6.5 to 7 hours. But maybe if you want to explore a lot more, you may be looking at the 10 to 12 hour mark. But my main negative, once again, as it was in 7, is the character of Ethan. This seemed like a really big opportunity to flesh him out a lot more. They don't do that. We never see his face. If you're expecting him to be some sort of past character from the franchise, I'll tell you now, he isn't. There is nothing to him. He's just a nothing character. Really, this is the second game we play as him, and all we know about him is that he has a wife and a daughter who he cares about. And that's it. And I also found the line delivery a little flat at times. There's a sequence at the start of the game, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it was included in the timed demo that was recently released. There's a sequence in which there is a house fire and an innocent life is lost, and Ethan sort of he sort of like goes, "God damn it! I can't believe it's happening again." And the line delivery it felt a little flat. It's not a bad voice performance. I think that goes down to the script maybe, but yeah, Ethan once again is a shit character. I would have happily played as maybe Chris for the whole game. But I really enjoyed it. This is probably the most enjoyment I've got out of a new gen game. I, again, played it on the PS5, so I had the haptic feedback on the controller, which makes the weapons have their own feel to them, especially the sniper rifle and the shotguns. I love those adaptive triggers. They're awesome. You really feel it with the sniper rifle. So yeah, I can't wait to see where the franchise goes next. Please don't remake Resident Evil 4, it doesn't need one. That game is available on every single platform there is, even VR apparently now. So I am going to give Resident Evil Village a 8 out of 10. Yeah, I rate my games out of 10 and my movies out of 5, so if you're wondering why I've done that, I've not changed the way I rate stuff. It's just, it feels easier to rate games out of 10. So once again, apologies for the delay. I'm actually going to record a shitload of reviews right after this one, so you're probably just going to see a lot of my face recently. So please like, subscribe, and all that cringy shit I don't like saying. I will see you on the next episode of James Eddy Reviews. Bye.